What's going on, everybody? Henry Johnson here from Digital Home. We have another episode of Build and Renovate here for you. And on this episode, I have Scott Fisher from CielPower. Scott, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for being here. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day and getting to tell everybody a little bit more about what CielPower is and how you help homeowners. So,
Appreciate it. Thanks.
If you'll start us off, let's give us everybody a little background on who CielPower is, who you are, how you guys got started. Really love to hear about it.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. CielPower started in 2010. We are a home energy audit provider, and we retrofit older homes and make them more comfortable and more efficient. So if you live in an older home, chances are you're paying a lot of money every month on your energy bills. Chances are you don't know that there's a state program here in New Jersey that's going to help you pay for some upgrades to your house. Mm-hmm. We're a part of that state program, and what our people do is they go out, they figure out every day how homes are losing or wasting energy. We put together a report that we bring back to homeowners to explain exactly how that process is going, and if they want us to, we come back and we install the retrofits to make that house more comfortable, more sustainable, and more energy efficient.
Okay. So there's a lot there, right, that I can really go off of. You mentioned that you then install the retrofits to make their homes more comfortable. But before we go into that, actually, what are the things that you see, right, that are making people's homes less efficient, that their homes are maybe being colder, draftier, things like that? What are the problems and how are you going to solve them?
Yeah. Here in New Jersey, most people live in older homes. You know, the housing stock in this area is older, as you know, from installing smart homes. Exactly. So Montclair, probably the epicenter here in northern New Jersey of older homes. And you're in those homes every day. You're installing smart home technology in those houses every day. And for you, it's great because there's no insulation in those walls. You drop cables right down. They go from the attic all the way down to the basement. But for the homeowner, in a lot of cases, that's not the greatest thing in the world because the house was built before, in many cases, insulation became a priority. So building codes years ago weren't what they were. Back 100 plus years ago, when a lot of these houses were built, there weren't a lot of codes that said how these homes need to be built. So a lot of time, they're very leaky. They have very little insulation. And usually, and for most people, that's the bulk of the project that they do with us because insulation's relatively inexpensive, but at the same time, it can have one of the highest returns because, and it can have one of the most powerful impacts because it's simple, it's straightforward, and you can insulate your house and get it done and be a lot more comfortable and a lot more efficient. So
when I think insulation, right, I do a lot of work in new construction homes, right? I see them taking the insulation, the walls are open and they can just put it in right there. Yeah. When you guys are going in and insulating somebody's home, are you guys ripping the walls completely down and then putting it in, or are you putting spray foam in? What's kind of the process here?
A lot of people ask that exact same question. How does the insulation get into the wall? Do I have to rip all my walls down to insulate my house? The answer to that is no. We simply drill we lift up the siding on the outside of the house, so we try not to make it minimally invasive for the homeowner. So a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, it's going to be dusty, it's going to be dirty, it's going to be this nightmare project. But in fact, what we do is we try to do most of the work from the outside. We drill a small hole, we slide a tube all the way up into that hole. That tube's connected to a machine, and that machine blows insulation into that cavity at a really high velocity and forms almost like a solid mass inside that wall cavity. So,
so it's spray foam, is it?
It's actually ground up newspaper.
We're
very into sustainability. We're one of the most sustainable companies out there. We try to seek the greenest products we possibly can. It's actually ground up newspaper. It's treated with a mineral called borate to give it flame retardant, so it's not gonna catch fire or something inside your wall.
That's a good point. I imagine people think about that, right? When you say ground up newspaper, I didn't think about it initially, but making sure it's not. That it's fire resistant, probably a good idea.
Sure. The last thing you want to have is something that's gonna accelerate, potential cause an issue in your house. So this stuff is once it's been treated, we can actually hold this stuff in our hand and light a blowtorch and melt a penny in our hand with that blowtorch and have that material not catch fire. It's that flame resistant.
Okay.
But anyway, what we do is we fill up the entire wall cavity, we plug that hole, we put the siding back down, and it's like we were never there.
Wow, okay. And so with that, I'd imagine, based on what you just said, maybe not, but I still want to ask the question. If somebody's going to go, they're going to put insulation in their home, a lot of times, and I've had clients come from this, is that like, we're going to be breaking some of the walls open anyway. Let's do X. Let's do Y. From your side, what do you see? Like, are people doing, like they say, I'm going to be doing, putting insulation in the wall. I'm going to do a kitchen remodel. I'm going to add speakers to the wall. I'm going to do cameras or whatever.
Sure.
What kind of comes on the back end of your projects, or does anything?
And you raise and exactly what you just mentioned to me, you raised a lot of good points in that last statement. And number one, we always encourage people, if they're thinking about doing smart home technology, whether it's running cable, whether it's running wires, whether it's running anything, do that work before you insulate your house. That's one thing, while we're on this channel, that I want to make very clear.
I appreciate that.
Because a lot of times people, folks like yourself come into houses we've already insulated. Once we've insulated those wall cavities, you can't get anything through there. That wall cavity is packed with insulation, and that's really the goal, to make the house as comfortable as it can be. So we're always reaching out to our customers, letting them know that any electrical technology, any wiring that you want to run, or even plumbing that you want to run through the wall, do that before you insulate your house.
Yeah.
If there's anything I want your viewers to take away, it's that. Before you insulate your
hear
house.
That?
for this man's sake.
We don't want to have to go through insulation. It is not fun. So I appreciate you saying that to people. I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah. But once those wires have been run, we found most of the time when we introduce this program to homeowners, we're doing it through their community's energy efficiency program. So we're part of close to 10 different energy efficiency programs that are happening here in New Jersey. And a lot of times people are finding out about this program through their township or through their municipality, and they're getting letters in the mail, they're seeing advertisements in the newspaper, they're seeing it on social media. And what happens is a lot of people don't know that their home can be retrofitted. They live in an old home, they think that's just the way old homes are. It's old, it's cold, it's always going to be uncomfortable, and there's really nothing I can do about it. So I don't, I just pay the bill, and when it gets really cold, we put on an extra sweatshirt, we put on a blanket, and we hide under the covers and wait till it gets warm outside. But a lot of people don't know that they can retrofit an older home.
So with doing that retrofit, right, I have a friend in Montclair, they have an addition on their home, and we go in there, they just put space heaters in there because it's freezing, right? What do you see, right? I mean, you have your report here that kind of shows, I'm assuming, some of the results from doing the installation. What are the results that you see from people? Like, are they lowering their heating bill like X amount? Are they, what is happening? I just want to know. Yeah.
And it's a good question. Most of the time what we're seeing is that we can save owners of most older homes at least 30% in their energy bills. Wow. So it's significant. Yeah. And this is the first step for most people. It's called a home energy audit. Most people have never heard of a home energy audit. Most people have no idea what that is. But in New Jersey, this is the first step towards receiving either $2,000, $3,000, or $4,000 in cashback incentives, and either $5,000, $10,000, or $15,000 in zero or low interest financing to install improvements in your house, to upgrade your house.
You have to get one of these first, and then you can apply for that kind of stuff.
We're part of a program called the Home Performance with Energy Star program. And that program here in New Jersey provides cashback and financing incentives to anybody that owns a home who wants to make it more efficient. Now with that, you can install insulation, you can air seal it, you can install heating equipment, air conditioning equipment, a whole bunch of different stuff. But this is the first step. And what this is it's almost like taking your house to the doctor and getting a physical. We do a deep dive into somebody's home. We have a whole bunch of different specialized equipment that we use to figure out exactly how the homes are losing or wasting energy. And then in here, we recommend different improvements that can improve the comfort and the efficiency of the house. We let the homeowner know what those improvements would cost, how much incentive money is available to them to offset some of that cost, and exactly what they can expect to save going forward on their energy bills as a function of installing any of the improvements that we're recommending.
So if they did this with you, do they then go like apply for it on their own for these incentives, or do you guys kind of do that process for them? Like, I'm coming to you now, what's the process?
As a participating provider, there's two different types of incentives. One is the cashback incentive. So when a customer says, you know what, this makes a lot of sense, we want to go forward, at that moment, we have the ability to go into the software that this program utilizes and reserve that incentive for the homeowner. So at that point, once they've committed to doing the project, we earmark that incentive for them so that once the project's been completed and all the paperwork's been submitted, which is something that our office does for our customers, then at that point that triggers a queue in the state program to send that check off to the homeowner.
Okay, so you make it easy for them. One-stop shop, essentially.
Exactly. But on the financing side, there are some, they utilize a third-party organization to facilitate the financing. So the homeowner would simply go online, get an acknowledgement that they've either been approved or not approved. But the requirements are pretty basic. If you're creditworthy, it's likely you'll qualify.
Okay. So just a few more questions. I know we've been on for a little while here, but you mentioned installation is one of the main things you guys do. You and I once talked about the convection current with windows, as that's the place that a lot of cold air kind of comes in through windows, and like doing automated shades kind of helps in that area, which something we do.
Yeah.
What are other areas that maybe you focus on, or that you think people could focus on? Whether that's they're going to call you to do a big project, or they just want to do like maybe some small things up front. Just right. They're not in the place to spend that kind of money, but they just want to start helping themselves.
Yep. As an energy efficiency company, the window companies, window manufacturers out there have done a great job of equating energy efficiency with new windows. And we don't find that to be the case. 99.9% of the time, we're not recommending that a homeowner replace their windows. As long as the window is functional, regardless of whether it's single pane, double pane, triple pane, and argon gas and all of the different caveats that you can add to a window, we're generally not recommending that they replace the window. The reason why is twofold. Number one, as a percentage of your overall house, windows occupy a relatively small percentage of that for most homes, typically 15 to 20%. So when you think about it, the best window on the market maybe has an R value, a resistance to temperature of 4, maybe in a perfect world 5. So R value meaning resistance. The greater the number, the higher the resistance to its ability to resist temperature. So you think about it on a cold day, the higher the R value, the more resistant the cold is going to be to getting into your house. So with a window, a single pane window is an R1, a double pane window is an R2, a triple pane argon gas exotic window that would probably cost a homeowner $2,500 to go out and buy is maybe an R4, barely an R4.
Yeah.
Right? So you're getting the picture. Versus a well-insulated wall that's an R13. So if we can take 80% of your house and go from R4, which is an uninsulated wall, to an R13, or we can take 20% of your house and go from an R1 to an R3 or an R4, and have you spend twice as much money to get the smaller percentage of your house upgraded to that level.
The bang for your buck is
so much better.
More on the walls than the windows.
So much greater.
Okay,
so much greater with insulation.
Cool. So that's a lot. I think we've covered a lot of stuff. One thing the last thing I wanted to get a better idea from you. We talked about Montclair being a big place that has a lot of older homes. Where else do you guys work?
Yeah, we do a lot of work in Ridgewood, Montclair, South Orange, Maplewood, Princeton, wherever you would see a concentration of older homes. Even Woodbridge, we have a program running in Woodbridge and the 10 different municipalities that comprise Woodbridge. But just touching back on that window situation that you mentioned earlier. So while we don't recommend window replacement, it is a weakness. So we do recommend that homeowners get insulated blinds, insulated draperies, and they use something called passive solar, which is the ability to open the blinds on the sunny side of your house and allow the sun's warmth to naturally heat the home while keeping blinds and shades closed on the shadier side. And I know that there's a lot of technology, and you could probably speak better to this than I can, that's come out allowing homeowners to have that rotation almost happen automatically in their houses. And that's something we wholeheartely recommend. Yeah,
after meeting with your team, that was something that I started talking a lot to I've always talked to my clients about automated shades, right? The whole idea of letting in the warm, the sun, when the sun's out, and closing it when the sun's not out, essentially to hold the heat in. But I think I learned a lot more from you when you talked about convection current. Like a lot of times people think their windows are drafty, but they're not drafty. It's just that the cold air is kind of not passing through, it's making the window cold, and therefore making the rest of your house feel colder. But having like an insulated window, you said,
that's it,
could help. Insulated shades, can help a lot with that. So I know I love talking to you and a lot of our guests about things like this because it helps me, it teaches me about the business, right? About how to help our clients better. And I think we have a lot of similar clients. So.
And now technology is getting to a point where it's becoming so omnipresent. I'm not sure if I'm doing that right.
Sorry.
But so the Nest thermostat that can get paired with a whole environment. It can get paired with your hot water heater. It can be paired with your dryer. So your hot water heater knows you're not home, so it lowers the temperature of the water that's in the storage tank. It just doesn't turn on as much because it knows you're not at your house. It can be paired with your dryer to not not use as much energy to dry the clothes so quickly, spread it out over a longer period of time. There's so many different
things that can happen,
Yeah.
And integrating that, you make a great point on the integrations of everything. As things integrate more, the more they know about you, the better they can help you saving energy, being more efficient in your house. And I think that's what we're all trying to do, right? That's why we're implementing technology. That's why we're insulating our homes. We want to be more efficient. So I appreciate it, Scott. I appreciate you joining us today.
It's been a pleasure being here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So everybody, Scott Fisher, CielPower. Where can they find you, Scott?
On our website, it's not with an S, it's with a C. www.CielPower, CielPower.
I'll put it right above his head there. so go check out Scott, CielPower.com. And I appreciate you guys joining. I'm Henry Johnson. I'm with Digital Home. That'll also be above my head. And we'd love to help you guys out if you want any home automation or anything of that nature. And call Scott if you need any energy efficiency within your house. So you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.
Peace.